Ryan Mason is actually trying those things where Conte was so rigid and so stubborn, he wouldn't necessarily, you know, give these players these opportunities in these positions. So I thought he was outstanding, Emerson Royal. I think Romero has had a lot of criticism lately, and I think a lot of it has been justified. But I think if he plays around calmer players and better players, you'll see a better Christian Romero. I think he's top class. He was brilliant today. I think with Dyer and Lloris, Lloris has been a fantastic servant for Spurs, but I think their time is up. I don't want to see either play for the club again. I don't know if that's quite harsh on Dyer. I don't know, but I don't. I think the team is far more balanced without those players. The back three look calmer. The balance of Porro and Emerson Royal on the right-hand side was fantastic. The team worked hard.
I think that it was also a brave and astute move from Ryan Mason to drop Eric Dyer. What a different team we looked without him in the side. But also big up Ben Davies, big up Romero, and also Emerson Royal. You know, we were just talking about him before we came on the show. It's a couple of the people on the mentions. I think it was a chap called Matero or something who was saying that Royal was giving him Marcelo vibes, and he got, you know, laughed out the room. I don't know if he's Marcelo, but he's certainly a player that drastically improves this Tottenham side. He was positive, he was progressive, he was calm, he was poised, he was really solid under pressure, and having players like that in a back line is just so vitally important. So I'm delighted with the 1-0, delighted with the win, delighted with the performance, not really, but really enthused and really happy by the fact that we suddenly look defensively solid and structured. And Romero is the centre back. 2 thumbs up.
Just for, I say, our watching audience here, we are going to bring up the team from today. And Frank, I'll just come round. Frank, when you saw the team, what was your initial thoughts on it?
It was interesting to see Emerson Royal right centre back, but I was quite happy to see that. But it was just interesting to see, obviously, Eric Dyer probably should have been dropped for his own good a while back now. I thought when Longley came in earlier in the season and filled in at centre back, I thought he'd done a good job with Davies and Romero either side of him. But I quite like Romero today in the centre. Romero's ball-playing skills are probably underrated. He's very good on the ball. And he's very much a player. He's a young player. And obviously he does play on the edge. And sometimes he loses his head. Obviously he gets booked on average every 3 or 4 games, whatever it is. So it's good to see him calmer. And I think if we are going to sign a centre-half next season, it has to be somebody with the balance of experience, pace, somebody who likes dropping off, because obviously he likes to engage and sort of come out. You know, and so that would be a nice balance. So yeah, it was just interesting to see that it felt more balanced today. Unfortunately for Dyer, I think it's a confidence thing, because if you look at the tools he's actually got, he can pass, he's good in the air. He's not necessarily quick, but he's not ridiculously slow. So he has the fundamentals to be a good player, but I think it's psychological with Eric Dyer. Also, it's interesting because you think, for the most part of his career, he's been central midfield, or he's played at right back. So it's not natural to him. And playing in midfield, things like the space between your fellow centre-back or your wing-back or full-back, and those gaps not being there to shut out, obviously, the opposition breaking the lines. In midfield, perhaps, obviously, you're supposed to be compact, but it's a different sort of way of playing. You can get away with perhaps a bigger gap across the pitch because you're not last line of defence. So he's not naturally a centre-half, and obviously Longley is, Romero is.
Just to hark back to what Frankie was saying about Eric Dyer, and you know, he seems to have the attributes. I actually think that's part of his issue, is that he looks the part. You know, he looks like Action Man, doesn't he? He's this very handsome, robust, 6'4", you know, shaved head. I mean, you know, he looks like a bouncer that you would never want to mess around with, you know, not with those trainers. Okay, mate. And, you know, you leave, you know. And so I actually think that's part of his problem. As far as his confidence goes, he was never more confident than when Jose was at the club. You know, they had the language thing, the Portuguese thing, and he was good, I'd say, when Jose was at the club. But that was his very best. He just isn't good enough. And for me, what it is, he talks about his pace, and you're absolutely right. it's also his reactionary pace. You know, not just his pace like over 10 yards or 20 yards. It's just positioning and just that opportunity to react. Defending is all about, when do I go? When do I, you know, when do I press? When do I stand off? And he just doesn't ever seem to get that decision right for me. But anyway, I don't want to bash on him too much. I do think he's done with this club. And listen, he's been there for 9 years and made a lot of money. 9 years, my goodness.